What?
What's more likely?
Never say never, but never.
Hey, what's up, guys?
What up,
Everybody
Doug?
good?
What up,
It's
what up?
Friday.
It's
It's
cracking.
Friday. Let's do this. What's more likely? Let's get right to it. Top drafted quarterback, more likely to win more games in 2023, Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud?
Ooh, I'm going to go with Bryce Young. I mean, I think that's a little easier. I look at the division that he's in, though, the NFC South. Are you excited about the NFC South right now? I mean, Derek Carr enters, the conversation now with the New Orleans Saints, but the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Baker Mayfield, how excited are you about where they're going?
You're assuming Baker wins the job.
Correct, if he wins the job. Then you got Bijan Robinson. He now, joins Kyle Pitts and Drake London with, Desmond Ritter in Atlanta. I look at Adam Thielen, who now joins in Carolina. Carolina's got a pretty good offensive line. I think the way Frank Reich does it, now we're talking about who wins more games. I mean, are we talking 5 games versus 4 games? You know what I mean? Like
wins or wins.
Wins or wins, right. I don't think it's going to be a ton of wins, but I think that Carolina may have the edge on this one.
Carolina, TJ, what do you think? Stroud or Young next year?
We talk about pillars, right? and earlier you mentioned pillars, and I was thinking about this because now Houston has definitely, in the beginning of the show, you said you wonder how Texans fans feel. I'm telling you, they're feeling ecstatic right now, right?
Yeah.
They've got, they say you need, 4 pillars to hold a structure up?
Yes.
Well, they've got 2 of those pillars. And I'm thinking, man, Houston has to be really happy because what Will Anderson does on the other side of the ball is going to affect what C.J. Stroud does, and that's going to help him win games. I think the Texans.
Okay.
Hey, guys, breaking news. We just got some breaking news. Lamar Jackson signed with the Ravens. You guys hear that yesterday?
Yes, I did. I heard
Yes,
that.
Good for him.
These two teams played maybe the best football game of last year, so I'm looking at who's more likely to have the better offense next year. Okay, so Ravens got Lamar back. We know they got good running backs. Odell. They drafted Zay Flowers last night. How about Ravens or Dolphins to have the better offense in 2023?
Ravens or Dolphins?
They played that exciting game last year, but we know the Dolphins with Tyreek and Jalen Waddle. They got a great running game. Tua, when healthy, it was pretty awesome last year.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Ravens. I think the Ravens will be better offensively. I think Miami will have the bigger plays. Like, they'll have more splash plays. But overall, I think the Ravens will have the better offense. They're more complete offensively. They've got multiple running backs. Then you throw in the actual quarterback who can play running back as well. Mark Andrews, Miami doesn't have that. And then the complement of receivers, like you mentioned, I thought it was funny that Lamar Jackson got his contract, but also got his flowers as well, right? And Zay Flowers. So I think I'm going to go with Lamar Jackson and the Ravens having a better offense than the Miami Dolphins.
All right, next, big moment in my house yesterday. Pick number 8. Falcons take Bijan Robinson. I think Sarah started crying. It was pretty emotional. She was just very happy that they did something fun and exciting, taking arguably the best back and maybe a top 5 player in the draft. Which of these first-round running backs gets 1,000 yards next year, Bijan or Jahmyr Gibbs in Detroit?
I'm going to go neither.
Neither get 1,000.
Neither get 1,000.
That's not the game.
I know it's not the game. I got to throw the caveat in there. I think neither gets 1,000 yards. Jahmyr Gibbs is not that type of running back. Jahmyr Gibbs is more of a gadget mismatch kind of guy. He had 42 receptions at Alabama last year. That means that he's going to be a threat in the backfield, out of the backfield. I think he's going to be more about the passing game and rushing. Bijan Robinson, to answer the question, will probably be more likely to get 1,000 yards, but I think there may be a back later on that gets drafted that could be the bell cow and begin. Remember last year, Ken Walker wasn't the starter early on with the Seattle Seahawks, but injury, next thing you know, he's right in and he almost eclipsed 1,000 yards. Breece Hall could have been that way last year. So I think that there may be a back or two that we may see get drafted that can eclipse 1,000 yards. Remember Dameon Pierce, we're talking Texans. Think how good he was last year. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Bijan more likely, but if it's both of them, I think there may be somebody else who will get the opportunity for their football team.
How about this one? I know the Cardinals ended up not getting a top 5 pick. They ended up trading out, but they did have originally a top 5 pick. So who's more likely to not pick in the top 5 again next year? Cardinals or Colts?
Colts. I think the Colts don't pick in the top 5 next year. I think they get it. They're a good team. I mean, Jonathan Taylor has enough wide receivers. You got to think, Pittman, those guys. I think that they have enough off the offensive line. We could talk about those guys up front, Kelly and the left guard. I can't think of his name right now, but
Quentin Nelson.
Yeah, Quentin Nelson. There we go. Something I think I Biotish on my mind for some reason, but the Cowboys offensive line. Don't even talk about that. Anyway, the opposite side of. Yeah, I just don't see it. I see the Colts not drafting in the top 5 next year. Cardinals, we still don't know who's playing quarterback week 1. Do we know? I mean, Kyler Murray's, they're trying to put him in for week 1, but I don't see him playing until half the season. So do you believe in Colt McCoy? And then what happens with DeAndre Hopkins? There's still a possibility he could be traded. Defensively, they need a lot of pieces. I shouldn't have watched the Hard Knocks in-season episode last year of the Arizona Cardinals. There's a lot of holes that team needs to be fixed. And I think they're also building up through the draft. So I see that them picking in the top 5 more likely than the Indianapolis Colts.
All right, round 2 tonight, guys. We talked a lot about Will Levis or Hendon Hooker. Quarterback still available. Who's more likely to hear their name first tonight, Will Levis or Hendon Hooker?
I'm going Hendon Hooker. I think that Hendon Hooker is, for a lot of teams, you're able to draft him in the second round because you don't need him to play immediately. Hendon Hooker is a guy that you can kind of rest a little bit, let him heal all the way up, let him learn the system, and then allow him to go out there and play. I think the Rams right there at pick 36 could be a nice little spot. You don't want to waste that pick, and I think in the first round, because you're trying to get an immediate starter, an immediate impact player. Hendon Hooker won't be that for at least a full season after he recovers from this ACL injury. So I think Hendon Hooker goes before Will Levis.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.